Welcome to the Coach's Corner podcast. I'm your host, Coach Tripp, along with my buddy, Mark Hobley. Peace. Coach Hobbs, longtime coach and science teacher at Pensacola High, and one of our favorite guests we always have on the show here on Local Sports Report, Will Kennedy, voice of the Argos. Hey, Will.
Hey, how are you guys? Good to see you.
Man, we're
Wonderful.
doing great, man. We're doing great. We got so much to talk about. From the first 4 games of the Argo football season, let's get right into it. First 3 wins by 3 TDs, and then a one-score win, 25-17 over Greenville last week. Talk about the 4-0 start and the teams they played so far.
Yeah, been a kind of an interesting start to the season. You really played your theoretically toughest opponent. Week 1 had Lenore Ryan coming in here. They won 10 games last year. They were a playoff team, beat West Alabama actually in the first round of the playoffs last year, and they were ranked top 15. They came in and put on a great performance. I mean, our quarterback Marcus Stokes that week had 6 touchdowns, threw for 4, ran for 2, 300+ yards passing. I mean, I jokingly said if you had him as your D2 fantasy quarterback, you won big that week. So he had that kind of game, and then you beat a ranked opponent, and then you go on the road and you kind of don't play exceptionally well against Kentucky Wesleyan. Got off to a fast start and then just kind of got stuck in the mud. Same thing kind of happened with Shorter at home. And then this last week, we go up to North Greenville, and it's always a tough place. And you guys know it's tough to go on the road and take a team to play anywhere. But North Greenville's a team in transition. They got a new head coach, a guy that came from Limestone, played offensive line in the NFL for several years with the Dolphins and the Titans. And so they were tougher than you thought. It looked on paper. Had a 4-year starter at quarterback, so he was a really good kid. We knew that coming in. Got ahead, and then the weird stuff starts happening, right? You miss 2 extra points. You have a bad snap on a field goal. All the things we were doing well for a couple of weeks in the special teams did not go well. Muffed a punt. I mean, just all over the place. And, it's 4th down, 3 seconds left, goal to go from the 8-yard line, and they got a chance to tie the game. And, we end up getting the win and leaving. So 4-0, you can't be better than that. But it really has been a little bit of a mixed bag. Where you're kind of looking, as coaches, right? And for me, I'm looking and saying, are we getting better week to week? Right. And I think you could make an argument that the last couple weeks, maybe not. Maybe you're kind of plateaued a little bit. So bye week comes at a good time. Coach and staff can try to, make the necessary adjustments and get yourself ready to come back out, go on the road in Oklahoma, home game with Chowan, and then we're getting into West Al, Delta, Valdosta, that run.
Yeah, the rough part of the conference, all the conferences towards the end of the year. It's good to play tough teams at first. You know where you are, but you don't want to play to the level of your opponent. I know that's probably what Coach is concerned about a little bit.
Yeah, and I think that's been the thing. I think you played up to the level of that first opponent and really put something on them. And that game wasn't even as close as 48-21. I mean, that there were some late touchdowns from Lenore Ryan that were just kind of garbage time. So that really that game was a strong statement. And both the game at Wesleyan and the game with Shorter, I mean, we're out of the gate. We're up 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns really early. Up at Wesleyan, I think we were up 14-0. We hadn't even 4 minutes off the clock yet. And so it just feels like that foot off the gas, that stereotype of just you can't keep the intensity up, and you kind of pull your foot up a little bit. You can't do that. You can't do that. I don't care who the opponent is, because it's always that sense of, are we giving them some hope? Are we giving them a lifeline? And almost messed around with North Greenville. We were up 19-3, and you end up winning 25-17. That's just not a sustainable thing for down the road.
Yeah, that's a good point. Will. I'm sure the coaches are paying attention to that. When you got them down, you have to step on their neck and really don't let them up. And sometimes you have to use reverse psychology, like it's 0-0. That's what Coach Bryant used to say, if we were up by 2 or 3 touchdowns that time, hey, it's 0-0, forget it. And he would lay into us worse than if we were, losing. So sometimes you have to use reverse psychology on them. The defense has been really strong. I think they're only giving up like 16 points a game in the first 4 games. So talk about some of the defensive stars or some of their accomplishments.
Yeah, even the scoring, the overall scoring numbers are not indicative of really how good this defense has been, because the Shorter game, for example, we had an interception / fumble play that, screen pass in the middle of the field, a lot of bodies, ball pops loose, they take it back for 6.
Yeah.
Late in the game, our backup quarterback throws a pick 6. So giving up 20 points in that game.
That's not on your defense. No, that's not on your defense.
In that game, though, they also got, we got them pinned down deep in their own end at the 5-yard line. We throw a run blitz on a 3rd and 12, and he goes for 95 yards. He gets past, the linebacker, and it's over. The kid's running the end zone. So we play a really aggressive style, and you guys know sometimes you're going to get burned with that, but you're kind of playing the odds a little bit. So that defense has been really solid. They're fun to watch because they are super aggressive, and it's been really a team thing. Nobody's really jumped out except for the middle linebacker, Walker Robinson, who's leading us in tackles. He was spectacular against North Greenville. I mean, he made the play at the end of the game, but also kid sprains his ankle on the opening kickoff. He's playing special teams too, and stays in the game. Ends up with 15 tackles. And,
oh my gosh, he's
throwing a TFL.
Yeah,
he showed me his ankle, guys, after the game. We're talking. And you can see it swelling. I'm just
man, that's a leader, man.
Thank the Lord we have a bye this week. That was what I was thinking, because he needs time to rest up. But no, I think they're pretty good on all 3 levels. We've got some good corners. Safety's been one of those positions where we lost a lot of talent. I think you guys and I had talked previously. Like, you lose 4 or 5 starters in the portal. And I mean, key guys, all conference guys, all region guys, so we lost Virgil Lemons, and we lost, Cam Canterbury back there, and we lost Trayvon Mitchell up on the front, lost Cody Lowe and Ralph Ortiz. I mean, that's 5 guys off the top of my head who were all key contributors on defense last year. So you're replacing that. So I don't think they've really missed a beat. I think they've been really good. And so I think defensively, you'll continue to see that. We're going to get after the quarterback. We were amongst the nation leaders in TFLs last year. We're right back there this year with those big plays. And, that really flips it, puts the offense under the gun. If, you get that, even if it's a 2-yard loss on the running play on first down, all of a sudden it's 2nd and 12, and your playbook starts to get a lot skinnier. And then now you're giving your defensive line, those front 4, a chance to go after the quarterback on 3rd down. And that's been a recipe so far for getting off the field quickly, forcing punts and forcing some interceptions. And so an aggressive defense is looking to turn you over, put some pain on you. You guys know, Coach Tripp, that's fun to watch right there, right? It's fun. It's fun to play that way too. Trust me, guys.
Yeah, it is. It's fun to blitz. It's fun to do different things. It's fun to disguise coverages. You mentioned an interesting point, Will, good perspective on first down. People don't realize, coaches even don't realize, players, I'm not sure realize either. First down's a critical down. You can't get behind the chains on first down. You got to get some yards, because you're stuck when you're long, 1st and long. You're going to be 2nd and long, and then you got to pull 3 plays in a row out. So that like a holding call. I remember the Mannings on Monday Night Podcast. I think it was a year or 2 ago. But they mentioned that holding call is a drive killer, and you only have 10 to 12 possessions every game. So if you're getting behind the chains on one bad play, a negative play on first down, then you're going to waste almost a whole series.
Well, it's been super frustrating along that lines, right? It's been super frustrating for Coach Caleb Nobles and the staff, because penalties. We've been devastated for 3 straight weeks. We've had double-digit penalties, triple digit yardage, and so
wait a minute, back up.
Yeah.
Did you say triple digit?
Yes. Okay, yeah. Coach Hobbs. 3 weeks ago, we Wesleyan game 18 for 191.
No way.
Then we went 10 for 115 last week with North Greenville. I think we were 12 or 13 for 140. So and to the point, our offense, right? We get stalled out in the middle of the game. Well, we get the ball off a kickoff. It's first down to start a possession, and we get a false start or a delay of game, which are just both mental penalties, right?
Yes.
But all of a sudden it's 1st and 15. And now,
right.
Now if you run it on first down and you gain 2 yards, 2nd and 13.
2nd and 3rd are long, right?
It's really hard. And then on the other side of that, the aggressive part of our defense I was referencing, 3rd down, we force an incompletion and we get a late hit on the quarterback. And so now that keeps the drive alive. So you're having our penalties are drive killers on offense, drive extenders on defense, flipping field position sometimes when you're taking an unsportsmanlike. And those have been, it's those little things. And against good football teams, that's going to kill you. I mean, that's you just, turnovers, right? You're going to, if you lose the turnover battle by, I always say,
Right.
3, if you got, if that plus minus on turnovers is more than 3 or more, then you're in trouble. You're not going to win that game.
Oh, and the NFL, it's 95% loss rate, 85% loss rate if you're two under the turnover.
And then I look at, and I say that to say this, that I look at things like that, late hit on the quarterback on a third down. That's a turnover. And that's a turnover on the defense because they should have been off the field. And instead we've given them an extra play. So, for fans out there, right, we see interceptions and we beat quarterbacks up for that. It is just as flipping of the momentum and changing a game when it's that kind of play on the defense. A pass interference, that's a dumb one to take. Sometimes, I hate to say this, there are good PIs, right? And there are bad PIs. And for example, when you've got great coverage, but you never even attempt to flip your head as a safety or a corner to look back at the ball. Right. So for fans out there, you can get away with a little contact if I turn my head. But if I don't turn my head and I run into the guy a little bit, even if it doesn't look like much, you're going to get that flag. And so those type of things that change the structure of a game right there.
Hey, Will, I want to piggyback on what you said about first downs. I noticed during the LSU Florida game, the guy threw 5 picks, but every single one of them was on third down. So that was very important. What you and Coach talked about. You got to stay ahead. You got to move the chains, right, and stay out of third and long.
Yes.
And then maybe you can help your quarterback a little bit by staying out of those third down situations. And I still think Florida has a good football team down there. But if you're going to get this guy in third down and he's slinging it around a little bit, it's not going to be real good.
Yeah. The Gators were 0 for 13 on third down.
Yeah, I say even a difference between a 3rd and 5 and a 3rd and 7, which doesn't sound like a whole lot, is a big difference for an offense. And
in the playbook,
because you think if you watch receivers, how quickly the 5-yard out route or that kind of route can be hit, whereas you got to give your quarterback more time. It's just that little bit of difference, that could be the difference in that play. And so, but also 3rd and 5 now as a defense, right? I've got to be aware of the run. I've still got to be careful because they may go play action or they may actually run it at you. But 3rd and 7, you feel more comfortable, especially from that defensive end position. I've noticed that's one thing with our defense. Sometimes the rush gets a little narrow and that quarterback scrambles out of the pocket. And that's what the North Greenville guy was kind of doing late in the game. So, that lane integrity as you rush it, all those kind of things change with down and distance. And so, but it's the mental mistakes, right? And late in the football game and
drive a coach crazy, those mental. I mean, there's got to be consequences for that in practice when you have repeated mental mistakes. I would accept the kid if he was in position and he couldn't physically make the play because he wasn't talented enough. I'd never got on. You never get on the kid for that. But if he kept repeating mental mistakes, I'd either have to discipline him or sit him down. I couldn't. I just wouldn't take that as a coach because it just like you said, it's going to hurt you against good teams, and you're hurting your teammates by having that kind of player on the field.
Former coach Pete Shinnick, of course, led us to the title and, was kind of mentor to Coach Nobles. And he told me a couple of years back, he said, listen, the problem is, and we're on that run right now, as I mentioned the last couple of weeks, officiating crews talk to each other. And you get a reputation as being a team that runs up penalty numbers, rightfully so or not. And I think it's always, to me, somewhere in between. Like, we're on the road, we're getting a lot of penalties called
subconsciously.
You expect some, and some of it, some of these crews, it's a hard job to do, but some of them maybe don't do it as well as they could sometimes. But that's neither here nor there. And then
subconsciously,
and so you start getting a reputation, and so where it's a bang bang play where you run into the quarterback, you're just trying to make an aggressive play, like you're mentioning. Don't fault the kid for hustling and busting his rear, but all of a sudden you get that as a roughing the passer. Where maybe not if you're not a team that comes in with that reputation of being heavily flagged.
Okay, let's switch gears. We could go on for a long time and talk Argo football. What courses are you teaching this semester?
We're doing a live event production course where the kids actually man a lot of our broadcasts. So whether it's volleyball going on right now or soccer or football, they are the ones running the cameras, doing the directing. For me and football, sideline reporter Camille Clark's one of our former women's basketball players. She does that. So the students do that. They are also as part of that course, you learn about how to live stream and televise, if you will, a church service or a TED talk or an event. We got an old guy from over in Foley who wrote a hit country song in 1975, and he wants to come over and shoot a music video. And so the students are going to do that. It's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Then I teach like a visual audio communication class, kind of an overview of all the different things we can use and tools we can use and video production, all that kind of stuff. Plus the UWF Voyager, the old student newspaper, which is now got a website and, YouTube channel and all that. And then, between that and then with the athletics, doing the coaches show with Caleb, and we're trying to always create new content and things for the website, and doing some podcasting now and all that kind of stuff. Just trying to find ways to reach out and reach your audience, your fans. And I mean, I got a call. A guy left me a voicemail the other day, and he said this, and you guys know, I'm a veteran of Channel 3 twice, and this guy was like, hey, I've been watching Channel 3 for years, and I keep watching the local ABC affiliate, and they don't ever talk about UWF. They don't talk about football. They don't talk about our women's soccer is ranked top 10 in the country. Volleyball is a heck of a program. Men's soccer is great. We got
no sportscaster anymore.
We got the defending national champ in men's golf. And And so I would tell anybody, it's like, you just got to come to our website. We're putting video content on there. We've got, we've got articles, traditional stuff. We're going into podcasting, trying to make sure that the folks that follow University of West Florida and all the Argonaut sports and all the programs we have, have a place to get that. Plus you want the kids, right? We're trying to put the highlight on these incredible student athletes. And so I want you to get to know who they are and learn their personality. Right. And so we'll do fun stuff. Like my class just had 3 volleyball players. They're all freshmen, all new to the program, and had them sit down, and they're all roommates and kind of do a fun thing with each other where they ask each other questions and get to know each other. So, that type of stuff in addition to the highlights and all the cool on the field stuff.
Well, you get the archive thing. We live in a great age now, Will. You get the archive, and their great grandkids will be able to hear their story. I mean, that's one of the reasons I do my podcast. Talk about this new podcast that you have coming up, and some of the ex-UWF players that are trying to get in the NFL or do play.
Yeah, we're taking the audio from the coaches show each week. And what we do is Caleb and I, usually right after the game on the road, like right after the game, and then at home, we'll come back on Sunday, and we'll just kind of break down the previous game, a little bit of a preview of the next one. And so we were doing that for video anyways. And so we just pull the audio out, put that out as a podcast, all the little pregame radio things I do with the players, dropping those little interviews on there. So their families can hear, but also so our fans can kind of get to know these young men a little bit better. And then I was like, okay, I had Devin Gibson, Coach Hobbs was saying, hey, I heard a new guy with you the other night, and that's that's Gibby from our 2019 team. He's a local guy, played at West Florida High. He was our center. You know how centers are, right?
Yeah,
they're like, they're smart, but also they're kind of the heart of that soul of that offensive line. They're usually the funny one. They're the way Jason Kelsey, guys like that. And
sure.
Gibby's right there. And so I started thinking, we were talking about that 2019 team during that game with Shorter. And I thought, now's the time to start reaching out to some of those guys. We'll come up on 10 years, not too far away. So staying connected with them, but also, their insight is kind of, they were all the OGs of the program. A lot of those guys were here from day one. So, catching up with them, where are they now? But as they look, as we're about to build a stadium and all this other stuff, kind of how they're feeling. And so Austin Reed's the first one, and he was QB1 back in 2019, went to Western Kentucky, played there, was with the Bears all last year on their practice squad. Right. And then they got a new coach, obviously, in Ben Johnson, who comes over from the Lions as the OC there, and now the head coach in Chicago. So he tells me in the podcast, he's like, it's just a numbers game. He said, they wanted to bring in a veteran because they got Caleb Williams in his second year and Tyson Bagent, who was another D2 guy, young guy. So they brought in Case Keenum, and Austin said, I understood it, and they explained it to me well. They would love to keep me, and they told me to stay ready. But he worked out for the Ravens the other day. It's that situation.
Who did he? For Ozzie and those guys? Hey,
well,
he had a great preseason. I thought Austin had a great preseason.
Yeah, he had a great – well, he's got good tape. And, so people have asked me, well, is he going to go play in Canada or play in the Arena League? And I'm like, no, because you got to be ready. You can't be playing somewhere else if a team calls and somebody's going to get hurt. We're already seeing some quarterbacks go down. So I think he'll get an opportunity. And then it's just, it's a little bit – I think Austin could play anywhere. I think he could be, who knows what he could be ceiling wise.
Yeah, it's timing. A lot of it's timing. Will.
It's a numbers game. Yeah, right place, right time, and who you know. But he's done everything you can do. And so Austin's my first one, kind of in this legends category. And then I'm trying to get DeAnthony Bell, who was our safety on that team. He spent a couple years playing for the Browns. And then now he's out in Seattle, and they cut him right at the end of camp. And they brought him back, and he had a great play. I mean, he absolutely one of the best block punts I've seen in a long time. The timing of it, the way he snuffed it out, almost took it off the punter's foot. And their Seahawks big win over the Saints. So he's doing well. I think this is season 4 for him. And,
holy cow. Good for him. Yeah, that'd be a great talk. That'd be a great interview. Awesome, man. We're so proud of you, Will. So proud of the Argos and those guys. There's men's and women's cross country, women's soccer, women's swimming and diving. Volleyball's going on. Talk a minute about the other sports that's rolling at UWF.
Volleyball just started conference play, as did men's and women's soccer. I think they're 8-3 already. They've played some really, really tough teams early in the year. They played 3 different tournaments, hosted one, went to Colorado, then just went down to South Florida. They beat Valdosta. Always good to beat Valdosta on Tuesday. And then they will go out to Tennessee this weekend to play Christian Brothers and Union out there. Soccer just made that swing through Cleveland, Mississippi, and Jackson, Delta, and Mississippi College. And the women, I think, are 6th in the country in one poll and off to a really good start. And the men have got one of the greatest international group of kids. I mean, they got Brazilians and English guys and people from all over. So Bill, I think he said he only had one player back from last year. That's kind of the way it works. But when we get, down the road, we'll get to women's basketball. Same thing. One player out of 15 returning. So it's all new. And Bill's was literally Bill Elliott, our men's soccer coach, was telling me, he said, I had a bunch of guys, that signed X number of years ago and they all stayed, and they even stayed through COVID. And so they had the extra year and everything. He said, but that all hit last year. I think he had 9 guys graduate. And he's got a whole new roster of a bunch of new guys, and they're off to a good start.
Is that what you're seeing? Are Division I football teams going down to Division II and poaching players and getting best ones on those teams?
It's trickle down in reverse, right? The high level, the group of 5, the power guys they're dipping down to right below them. So, for example, I went over, go over to South Alabama in the preseason, and Major's telling me, he's like, Bill Belichick just stole Gio Lopez, our quarterback, after spring practice for $1.6 million. So, South losing the guy to UNC, and then South may dip down, if not to us, then to somebody, a little tier below them, and then that lower tier D1 is going to come down here. So, and then it doesn't even have to be that. South Florida gave our defensive tackle $190,000. Yeah,
I see what's happening.
Yeah, so South Florida, let's say South Florida loses a guy to Penn State or something,
right? And
then South Florida is looking at us to bring in somebody, and so it's we're at the lower end of the pecking order. They're like my fantasy football teams in the draft. I'm always last.
Oh my gosh! Are you guys going looking at Division III players or NAIA?
Well, no. Usually it's interesting because
Christian
we'll get a lot of cross D2 in some cases, and we benefited from Mississippi College shutting their program down. We got some guys, but we'll also get guys from the D1 level, and a variety of reasons why. Maybe they've got one semester left. You can do that at the D2 level. You can come in and play with
they're not playing much.
Yeah, they may have, or they've graduated somewhere and they just want to play for and I think the draw still here is, and I love this because we get a lot of guys who are really competitive that come in from somewhere else. Maybe they've come down from a D1 or they've come across D2, and I'll find a lot of times it's because they've never won anything. And they've never, been in a competition for anything in their conference. They want to come somewhere where they want to win a conference. They want to go to the playoffs. They want to have a chance to play for a national title. That's tough to do at some lower tier D1s. I mean, you're not going to play unless you're at South Dakota. But if you're not at South Dakota State or handful of schools at that level, you have no chance, right? And so
that's interesting. Yeah,
we're one of the few in the D2 level that year in and year out is potentially playing deep into the postseason and playing. So we had a receiver, Caden from Texas a couple of years ago, and he played at Texas Tech, and we beat Valdosta on the road to win the Gulf South Conference title. And the young man's crying after the game. He's got tears in his eyes, and I was like, he's from Texas, played high school football in Texas. And I was like, and I thought for a second, I said, "Is this the first time you've ever won anything?" And he's like, "Yeah." He said, "My high school team, we never competed for a district title. When I was at Texas Tech, we were, we never sniffed the Big 12. He said they didn't even go to a bowl game. So it was his first time, and you just assume everybody that plays college football has won something in high school, but that's not the case always. You got guys.
That's not the case at all. You're exactly right. There's a lot of good players on poor teams, no doubt about it. Wow, that's good stuff. You're a Longhorn, man. Your Longhorns going to be contenders there at the end?
Oh, well, it's a bye week for the Longhorns too, so I don't have to suffer through that while I'm not calling a UWF game. No, we're coming back last week from South Carolina, and we get back to the hotel, and I was like, Texas had played late, and I was like, let me watch these highlights. And then about 2 plays in, I'm like, why do I even care if we're playing Sam Houston State? No offense to – I mean, like, I'm just saying that game, what does that do for you?
Eventually,
in this current age of that level of the playoffs, they are. But it's like I get it. It's on the schedule, and you got to find people to play you. But it's like that. Nobody needs that game. I mean, I don't. 55-0. I don't know that Arch Manning really gets much out of it. He made a couple nice throws, so I was encouraged to see the ball on time.
He needed that game real.
Yeah, he needed that game.
He needed that game real. When you're
they've got the deal.
5 for 16 against University of Texas El Paso.
Yeah,
and I think University of Texas El Paso beat East Texas A&M by 3 points. He needs more reps.
I tell people all the time, that's one of the things Austin was talking about at the NFL level. He says, and this is true, I think at the upper levels of D1 football, if you are the backup quarterback, right, you're not getting much. You're running the other team's offense. He said when you get into the season, the one gets all the reps. And so I wondered that last year with Arch Manning. It's like, Texas fans kept saying, Quinn Ewers, and like, man, look what Arch did in those 2.5 games he played. Well, they were against teams like the ones you're seeing now. And, every coach, what is your job as the head football coach?
Pick the best guy, give you.
Well, you want to win, so you're going to bring who gives you that chance. And they were like, well, I said, well, if Sark's not playing Arch now, if he keeps with Quinn Ewers, it's because he's seeing something to practice
every day, every day.
You guys remember Lute Olson? Lute Olson, the coach, basketball coach at Arizona, he used to tell this great story. And he said, I would tell all my players, we'd have a meeting with the parents before the year started. And he said, I would say, this is the last time I'm going to talk to you. And he said, this is the last time I'm going to talk to you. These are young men now. They're at college. They can come to me if they've got problems, and we'll work through that, and et cetera. He said, I had this one dad who just kept on calling and leaving messages, and it was all, my son should be playing. He's not getting enough opportunity. He said, I ignored it. And finally I said to the dad, I said, I'll tell you what, you can come to practice tomorrow. Mm-hmm. And he said, after practice, the dad came down to the arena floor, walked up, shook his hand, said, I'm sorry, and left.
Whoa. Yeah. That's powerful.
I had to tell a mom that in Longhorns last night for a 7-year-old.
Oh,
and she goes, I'm at all the practices. So that didn't work last night.
It didn't work for her.
Then you say, then you watch little, Timmy over here and tell me when he stops picking his nose and decides to play some football. No, I think, with Texas, I like now the fact that you can lose early if you're going to lose right on the road against the top 5 team at Ohio State. Right. It's kind of like I'm talking about with UWF. Am I seeing progression each week? They've got a great defense. The Longhorns got a good defense, and they've got playmakers on offense. It's just, can he get comfortable? Can he catch up a little bit to the speed of the game? And clearly, Arch Manning's got the talent. He's got the toolbox. It's just a matter of, can Sark dial up some easy things for him early? And I think it's going to be a nice game when they have, I wish I could go down. We're unfortunately got a game that week, but Longhorns will be down at the Gators here in a couple of weeks, and tough environment playing in the swamp against a pretty good, decent defense. Can you find a couple easy things for them early? We try to do that with Marcus Stokes, our quarterback too. A couple easy throws early, get him in rhythm, get the ball out of his hands, and not just little like dump offs out of the backfield. Run something over the middle. Let him get an easy patterns
read or something. Yeah, easy
but
read.
Just try to get and listen. With quarterbacks, right? Too much of the credit, too much of the blame, either way.
Right.
And sometimes you got to look and say, was that on him that day, or were the receivers able to get separation? And then you're asking, were the receivers running? Were they doing what they needed to do, or did the OC upstairs, was he not calling us into the right situations and letting our receivers get routes that could get open quickly? And what's tough on a young quarterback is when you're asking him to hold the ball for too long because you're running a lot of deep routes. The deep routes have got to come. I'm preaching to the choir here, but the deep routes have got to come off the running game. You got to be able to run the ball effectively. That helps your quarterback, and then the play action helps. And now we've got
because the DBs are coming up for run every single play. All right. Well, let's get your guest pickers. I want to tell everybody last week Neil Summerford he took Hobbs in on this. He went 5-3. We went 4-4. But we're picking more than 6 or 8 games because now the games are getting interesting. And we're going to start out with Ohio State, 9.5-point favorites at Washington, 2:30 on CBS. Who you got, Will?
Ohio State, no doubt.
Okay, Hobbs?
I'll take the points.
Take the points. I'm with Ohio State, too. I think they'll beat up Washington. Penn State, we're going to find out about them. And they host Oregon, number 6, Oregon, 6:30 on NBC. Penn State is 3.5-point favorites. I'm taking Oregon.
I'm also going to go with the Ducks. And the reason why, have you guys seen the stat? Penn State against top 10 teams is something like, if you throw out some bowl games that were after things were decided, they're like 0-19 against top 5 teams. Like
their quarterback is like rated 118th in the country.
They cannot throw the football, and that is a problem.
Nope. LSU. It's going to be, can they run the ball and keep Ole Miss offense off the field? That's the big thing. I'm going to take LSU over Ole Miss, and LSU's getting 2.5, 2:30 on ABC.
Whew, this is the Lane Kiffin Bowl. If you've seen the social media, I don't know.
Yep.
Ole Miss may be hot.
Maybe.
Games in Oxford, right?
Games at Oxford.
I'm going to tell you what. I'm just going to take Ole Miss straight up.
Okay.
This game started at LSU as the favorite, and obviously the hot money has come in on Ole Miss.
Yeah,
I thought about Ole Miss. I've never considered LSU in this game. Give me the Rebs.
All right, Georgia and Alabama. I'm taking Alabama. Georgia's probably playing better than Alabama, but Alabama, I think they have to. It's always about who can run the ball and who can stop the run. I think Georgia has to run the ball against Bama to keep them off the field because Alabama is going to score points. This might be a high-scoring game, just like the Georgia-Tennessee game. I'm taking Bama. I never pick against Bama.
I was going to say, contractually, don't you have to take Bama?
I do.
I think I'll take Georgia at home in this one.
All right.
I think Kirby's, pun intended, Kirby's too smart.
He is brilliant, man. I do like Kirby. I know Hobbs is taking Georgia.
Yes.
All right, Texas A&M, 6.5-point favorites over Auburn. Auburn's a decent team. I think Texas A&M at home is at least a touchdown advantage. 2:30 on ESPN. I'm taking Texas A&M.
Yeah, you go with Kyle Field. Go with the home environment there. I think, although still kind of like Texas, the jury's still out on A&M.
Okay, this game is at Texas A&M.
Yeah,
I'll go with the Aggies.
All right, and if we've got FSU at Virginia, FSU's only 7.5-point favorites. I think they're a lot better than that. Friday night, 6 p.m. ESPN. I'm taking FSU.
I say the Noles and cover.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Hobbs got that too. Indiana and Iowa. This is an interesting game. Indiana, the high-powered offense, that quarterback Mendoza. Iowa with a good defense. I love the environment at Iowa. I love it when they wave to the sick kids up there, man. Every single player does it, and it's a good way to get perspective in the middle of a game. Indiana's on a roll. I'm a Kurt Cignetti fan, man. I think he's really turned the tide there, and they're going to be Big Ten contenders for a while. But I think Indiana pulls it out, but by less than 7.5.
I think that was one of the biggest things when he stayed there. I think he had the opportunity to potentially go some other places, but he's kind of sticking with the Hoosiers there. So
yeah,
nice little road upset there. I'll tell you what, I'll go the other way. I think Iowa. It's hard to get out of that corn with a
so I'm taking Iowa. You taking Indiana?
Of course, I'm taking Indiana. Iowa couldn't score on Pine Forest.
Iowa's offense.
They're awful.
Iowa's offense is horrible, but
just awful.
Iowa State, 6.5-point favorites, hosting Arizona 6 p.m. on ESPN. Arizona hasn't showed that much this year. Iowa State, I think, is a good program. I'm going to give up the 6.5. I'm taking Iowa State.
I'll go with that. Yeah.
Okay.
I still don't trust the ex-Pac-12 schools.
I don't trust them either.
Me either. Now we got an SEC battle, which is another big game on our schedule. Tennessee, 7.5-point favorites at Mississippi State, who's 4-0. 3:15 on the SEC network. I think those cowbells are a little bit long. I think Tennessee wins it, but only by a field goal. I'm going Mississippi State.
Man, that's a tough place. Starkville's a tough place to go play. No matter kind of, but it is. I don't know with Mississippi State if that record is really indicative. They haven't really played anybody yet, so I'll take Tennessee as well.
All right.
I like Mississippi State outright.
All right, Hobbs.
Outright.
Let the dogs out, Hobbs.
Now he's letting the dogs out, boy. Georgia Tech's 4-0. Brent Keys is their 14.5-point favorites at Wake Forest, 11 o'clock on ESPN. Wake Forest program is struggling. Georgia Tech's got confidence. I think they beat them by more than 2 touchdowns.
I think he's one of the best young football coaches in the game. I think that, watching them last year, I mean, just that team has fun, which I really love. Love the quarterback too, King.
Yes.
Really, really good player. So I'd definitely go with the Ramblin' Wreck.
Yes.
All right, Hobbs.
Georgia Tech as well.
Georgia Tech for Hobbs. All right, we got 2 left. Missouri's 4-0, 44-point favorites hosting Massachusetts. They'll have 40 points.
Why?
They'll have 40 points by halftime.
You say why?
Why are we even playing this game?
Why?
You know what, Will? I changed my mind on that. A few years ago, I thought that playing some of those schools would help them with their money, I think before NIL. But now nobody wants to go to those games. I don't even want to watch them on TV. And then, I think they're going away. They're eventually all going to go away.
When you're playing a school, what is that school known for? Massachusetts. What are they known for?
Institute of Technology.
Yeah. Well,
yeah. I mean, it's
science. And
I believe that's also. No, it's Massachusetts, not MIT, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is
UMass.
Dr. J.
Okay.
That is Julius Irving's alma mater.
Yeah.
That's what they're known for. They're a basketball school. That's where Patino coached at UMass. I mean, but they're not a football school. I'm surprised they even play football. They probably come down here, whip your butt in lacrosse, but
yeah.
All right, last pick. Duke, 4.5-point favorites at Syracuse. Every time I pick Syracuse, they lose, and every time I don't pick Syracuse, they win. What does that mean? That they're really inconsistent. So I'm going to try to at the Dome. I'm going to go with Syracuse over Duke. They're giving up 4.5 points.
So we're leaving out of Greenville, South Carolina, after the North Greenville game, and our flight's at 5:30 on Sunday morning, right? So we get to the airport, and there's a little bit of a line to go through security, and man, there are some sad looking Clemson fans in that line. I mean, literally, they got their Clemson stuff on. There's some tears in the corner. I can see that look of like, oh my God, I bought a plane ticket and got a hotel room to watch Syracuse come in here and whip our butts. I mean, Dabo's got to figure some stuff out, and they were going to do a bye. So they were going to do a bye week, Clemson last week, and Coach Nobles and Coach Connor, our defensive coordinator, Cavell played at Clemson and played in the NFL, and Caleb coached there. They were both like, man, some heads are going to roll. They're like, Clemson is bad. So
maybe assistant coaches. I mean, he's got to get,
I think Syracuse carries that momentum right on up. I don't care how bad it is. You come into Death Valley and you beat Clemson in their place.
Yep.
You got a little momentum rolling out of that if you're the
now they're back home. Hobbs,
I'm gonna take Duke on that. I got to figure you're still celebrating that win there, Duke. Duke's trying to.
Thank you for not making anybody pick a North Carolina game. Because come on now, that's the Bill Belichick.
I know. Pat McAfee was hammering on
that. A couple schools decided to go, try to splash with some names, and it doesn't always work out, does it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Thanks for being on, Will.
Absolutely. All right. Our next, we got on the road coming out of the bye week at Northeastern State out in Oklahoma, a little bit southeast of Tulsa. That's coming up on the 4th. And then we're back home October 11th. Chowan comes in. That's the homecoming game. So go to goargos.com. You got schedules for all our sports, results, news comes out. We got all conference performers. Elise Carmichael is the freshman of the week. Women's cross country. Her dad, Caleb, our coach, and she just broke a record for university program 6K record. Their women's team is great, so they don't get enough love. I like to shout out cross country. Men are doing well too. So, but you get to see what all we do and how many titles we win and all that kind of good stuff. And
11,
but also get follow 11. What we do. I think we're 130. Conference titles, so we continue to just rack them up, multiple every year. So go to goargos.com. If you want to come out to a football game, that's where you can find the tickets and everything too. So
thanks to Coach Steve Fell, his third and the Argos 11th national championship.
Yes, and golf, men's women's golf just started their fall schedule. So we got a ton going on, but we love to have the community come out, and you guys know it's a good level of football. I mean, it really is. I mean, you're going to see some dynamic guys who go on and play in the NFL as well.
Yeah, absolutely. GoArgos.com.
Yes, thank you, Will.
Thank you, Will. See you, buddy. Wow, good stuff from Will. Voice of the Argos.
Yes.
Just keeps us updated on the Argo update. All right, let's pick our high school picks. We do that every week. We'll go kind of quickly. Thursday night tonight, PHS at Bay. PHS 1-3, Bay 4-1. Only loss was to Madison County by a touchdown. Bay in a big way.
Yeah, I got Bay probably by 10 or more. I agree with that.
All right, Friday, the big game, the one I'm going to, Washington at Escambia. I know you would say Washington 3-1, Escambia 0-4, but this is a district game. It's almost like a playoff game. So their backs are against the wall, and we think they might pull it out against Washington. We've been picking Washington. They've been winning, but they won by less than a touchdown, three of their wins. So I think Escambia is going to pull it out, Hobbs.
This game's at Escambia. I got Escambia by less than 1 point, and you can't do that. So,
it's going to be close.
It's going to be real close, folks.
Yep.
Get there early.
Yeah, we'll get there early. 4-1 Catholic at 4-0 Freeport. Wow, this is a big game. And I don't know which one. This could be a 50-50, but I'm going with. That's right. I'm going with the Catholic Crusaders in this one. Hobbs.
Yeah, I like the Pensacola boys in this. They're playing well.
Okay, Tate at Navarre. Tate 4-1. Navarre 0-4. Tate in a big way.
Yep, Tate's playing well right now. Navarre played a little better against Milton last week.
Yes, he did.
I'm predicting Navarre to win at least 2 games this year. Just not this week.
Just not this week. That's right. Milton 5-0. They could get their unbeaten streak broken at Mosley, who's a powerhouse. 4-1. They only lost to Bay, to Bay. So I'm taking Milton in this one by a squeaker. I know they've won a lot of close games, but Hobbs, I'm sure, is taking Mosley.
Oh yeah. I'm taking Mosley.
Kid can spin it.
Yeah. The kid, the junior quarterback can really throw it. Milton is the number 1 team in the region of the top 8.
What?
Milton
is the number one team in the region. Congrats, Coach Sawyer Smith and Coach Ronnie Douglas and all the guys over there.
They're number 1 in the region.
We coach, man, going from 0-10 to number 1 in the region.
But Tommy Joe's got something waiting on him over there. Mosley has those dudes, guys.
Man, the big guys. All right, that's going to be a great game. Crestview 1-2 at Pace 3-1. The Crestview is probably the best 1-2 team in the state. They're playing at Pace just a little bit. I think this is a close game too. I think Pace by 10 points.
Well, I actually got Pace by 6, a little less than that, but I do like Pace. Crestview will probably come in and play well. They've had 2 weeks to get ready.
Yeah, you're right. Probably more close to 5 or 6 points. That could go either way. Niceville 2-3, Jekyll and Hyde a little bit. Have really dipped the last few weeks after a good start at Gulf Breeze. Gulf Breeze playing a little bit better. They're 0-4. I think Niceville takes this by 2 or 3.
Yeah, the guy before this new coach at Niceville was 64-10.
Yeah.
This new guy, Coach Morgan, is 2-3. He needs this one bad.
Yeah, he does. Flomaton at Jay. Flomaton's 3-2. Jay 1-3, but they've lost a lot of close games. Jay has, and they played a tough schedule from Baker to other teams. So I think Jay at home is going to pull this one out over Flomaton.
I like the Royals in this one. This will be a close one, but I actually have Flomaton by 0.5 point in here. But I did go Jay.
All right, Rocky Bayou 0-5 versus Central 0-4. This is the battle of.
Well, someone's going to win.
All beaten. So somebody's going to get a W, but I think it's Rocky Bayou over Central.
Yes. I'll have to go with you right now. You have a 2-game lead over me right now. And Kirk's still hanging in there, and so is Mr. Forbes. So get out and watch some high school football.
Absolutely. Thanks for watching Coach's Corner. For Coach Hobbs, I'm Coach Tripp. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for these great messages. Without these sponsors, this just wouldn't be possible. Our title sponsor, Sansing Chevrolet. So long, everybody.
Thank you.
When it comes to buying your next car, truck, or SUV, you need a team that puts you first. Here at the Sandy Sansing dealerships, we're proud to serve Pensacola and the Gulf Coast with the best selection, trusted service, and deals that work for your family. Just like great coaches build great teams, Sandy Sansing builds lasting relationships with every customer who walks through our doors. Because when it comes to finding your next vehicle, there's only one name to remember. Sandy Sansing can.
Arbitrium Consulting for all your fencing, landscaping, pressure washing, tree trimming needs. Call 850-483-0350 for your free estimates. Serving Pensacola, Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, Destin, Perdido, Gulf Shores, Foley, and the entire Gulf Coast. Arbitrium Consulting is owner-operated, fully licensed and insured. Call today, 850-483-0350, the official landscaper of Coach's Corner.
Hey, Bama fans, this is Will Moore, president of the Pensacola Bama Club. You can find us at PensacolaBamaClub.com. We are your official alumni chapter in the Pensacola and surrounding areas. Membership is available to all alumni and all Bama fans, so come see us at one of our many events throughout the year. Our Bama football watch parties are the next best thing to being in Bryant-Denny Stadium. We even serve authentic stadium hot dogs. Membership, event, and contact information will be found on our website at PensacolaBamaClub.com. Roll Tide.
Did you know there's a place where you can get good neighbor service and surprisingly great rates on your home and auto insurance? Yep, and that place is, ta-da, State Farm. Here's the deal. State Farm agent Will Rentschler is your go-to agent in Pensacola, Florida for the service you deserve at the price that you want. So stop shopping around. State Farm agent Will Rentschler has you covered. Call 850-433-4678 for your surprisingly great rates today. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Legal disclaimer, individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
When it comes to buggies and golf carts, nobody does it like Buggy Works. Hi, I'm JP Wibbs. We've got the largest selection of golf carts on the Gulf Coast. We have a brand new 10,000 square foot state-of-the-art service center and showroom to keep you rolling. We're right here in the heart of Car City at 5831 Pensacola Boulevard. Open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays 9 to 3. Check us out at buggyworks.com. Buggy Works. Come by and see why we're the #1 Denago dealer in the nation.
That's you trying to fix the plumbing yourself to save a few bucks. Doing things yourself doesn't always end well. The same goes for insurance. That's why Auto Owners works with local independent agents who tailor coverage to meet your needs and offer discounts for life, home, car, and business insurance. Because sometimes you need a professional to get the job done right. That's simple human sense.
Are you riding around in a filthy vehicle? Dirty car no more. Visit Ronnie's Car Wash today to get it shining in no time. They have 3 convenient locations with another coming soon. The unlimited monthly wash packages start as low as $14.95 per month with free vacuums, multi-purpose spray, and towels. Visit them in Gulf Breeze, Navarre, Fort Walton, and soon Crestview. Don't wait, wash today. Be sure to see Ronnie's Car Wash on Facebook to see the latest specials and discounts. You'll be riding and shining in no time.